Long term, first off, just hitting a big one with what we're doing right now is keeping the 110 acres that we own actively farming. So that's a hope and goal we're achieving immediately. Long term is that this place can continue to be open land and farmed. It's a huge thing to be able to be on land and feel like you're working the land. It's giving to you. Nature's giving back. The animals are giving, kind of a picture that everybody's getting taken care of within the system that you're working on. And so that's what you would just hope for long term, that land can be used in that way, where you're producing a product, but you're also, because we organically farm, chemical free, you're creating balance and you're creating diversity, and you're improving the farm. Just the whole big picture. I mean, healthy food, all those things I think are so embodied in farming, and that's what I want to be able to continue to do here. I mean, so I just foresee it going long term, as far as we're willing to continue to do. And I always think of when you get older, again, this is working well, like with my dad being in his 80s, and then I'm like my 40s, Easton Dutch is 10. I mean, these gaps and how we all come together. So I guess you just hope that, you can continue people in your family. Like, will Easton Dutch want to continue? Will he want to operate the farm? Hopefully, yes. Maybe he wants to do little other things too, but maybe always the core will be here. So that's all that we can hope for. And so that's the goal. And then, just keeping land open space, and just the beauty. I mean, people come here because they like driving around and seeing farmland. They like seeing it. They don't realize, as years go on, this place in 10 years could be a completely different place, and maybe it won't be as pretty as the way they envisioned it when they first got here, because of what it means to, develop. But we're hoping that by doing that, we're still making a mark and a statement on, preservation.
With flowers, we've had to pivot by slowing down. So instead of doing 42 weddings, we do, and going and setting up and going back the next day and picking it all up. This year we do, I think, 11, and they come and pick up their flowers much smaller. So we've slowed down. We also quit the farmer's market and started doing more things here on the farm. It was just getting hard to get there early in the morning, and we thought, what will our customers do without us? But they've all survived. We want to do less. When I first came around, I helped with the cattle, I helped with the fencing, I helped with everything. And now we have really two separate enterprises. And we'd kind of like to go back, and we do help each other, but we'd like to go back where we're working more together. So we'll still do some flowers, he'll do cattle, but we're talking about doing photography things that we both love, setting up more nature things. We have a grant for a pollinator plot, and we built a dead hedge fence, and we're going to put paths through there. We haven't fleshed it all out. We'll take suggestions. But we'd like to still bring people here, but not be as profit-driven and as labor-intensive driven. So what that looks like, we don't know, but I think we feel good about it. I mean, we think it'll work because people like to come to a farm.
Well, my long-term goal is, I just hope, and this is not just for now, but for future generations, it's just, I'll be laying somewhere in the ground happy as long as I know that it's a farm for as long as it possibly can be. And that would be great with me.
And I remember when I was dating Roy, and he would say, once it's not land, it's never land again. And that meant nothing to me. And there was a part of me thinking, if we ever had to sell, this is worth a lot of money. And I don't ever think...
That's grounds for divorce there.
And I don't... Oh, but I ever told him if he leaves me, he gets the fences and I get everything in the middle. But anyways, but now I understand what he means. if this became a subdivision, it would never be land again. And that would just be so sad. The fact that we're the 6th generation, to think it's made it this long and to think it wouldn't be land would break our hearts. The land will likely go to our daughter, son-in-law, and grandsons. Our daughter's a doctor, very successful, so she has disposable income and wouldn't need to sell the farm. But they have told us, but they don't live here. They live an hour and a half away. Our grandsons are our hope. And we hope to kind of put some things in place when we can't farm that it would be easy for them.
So long-term goals for any farmer are kind of iffy because it depends on, production and labor and who wants to have the farm. In our farm, it was interesting that it's kind of like every other generation. If you've actually farmed, you don't want your children to farm. So my mother was a teacher on the farm, even though she grew up on a dairy. And then I come along and I went to work for USDA. And then I came home and said, okay, now I want to actually farm what I've taught everybody for 30 years. And then so what my goal was to get this farm in perfect condition. So if my grandson came along and wanted to do it, he wouldn't have a lot of expense at that time. The biggest thing I'm considering now is to put it into a long-term conservation easement. It's in a trust, but in a conservation easement, which would prevent this land from going out of agriculture. So that's a big decision to make on a farm, because if you put it into a farmland trust, that's forever, in perpetuity. And so they can sell it. You can have up to a few house sites for all the future generations on the farm, but this land can't ever be used for anything but agricultural type activities. So you have to think about that. What would you want your daughter or your grandson, would you want them to be able to sell it? But because this has been in 10 generations and everywhere around me is selling, I would like to really keep this green space, not only just for the people that live here, or production, but just because we're running out of farmland and green space in this county. Well, guess where all the deers are? They're in the interstate or something like that. So, and I have so many memories of this from me, from my mother, from my grandparents that grew up on this farm. So I think that, long term, that's what I'm seriously considering now, which will be a family decision in the end, but I would like this to remain in agriculture into perpetuity.
Seeing people eat our food in front of us is so satisfying. Watching kids eat food for the first time, watching them eat a melon or a blueberry for the first time in front of you, and watching them grow up is beautiful. Having people contact us saying, I'm getting back into baking because I feel good about eating this grain. I feel healthier with this grain. Thank you. That's what pushes me to keep going.
That's the main thing, yeah. Being able to and potentially have a family that I can teach them and pass on the same skills and habits that I was able to be gifted from my family is one of the core reasons why I'm on the farm as well. I think teaching common sense and sharing that with the next generation, be mine or somebody else's friend or kid, is what's important to help keep the rural economy and rural foundation of America alive and well.
I do it so that me and my family can have a nutrient-dense, high-protein, healthy egg, and then that's why I do it. And in turn, I get to supply my community, my friends, and my family with high-quality products that you can trust, that's clean to eat. We've turned this into a massive enterprise. However, it started with a little kid with a dream that wants to farm, and had to figure out how to sustain my family monetarily, but I do it because I love it.
Me and Nathan both feel like this is something that was divinely given to us, and we feel like it's our purpose on this earth to be a steward of the land and be a steward of our animals, and we just believe that this is where we're supposed to be, and if that's true, then God will find a way for everything to work out. So, and I want to leave something to my kids. This conventional agriculture, there's not going to be topsoil left. There's not going to be water left. I mean, there's just so many things that is not protecting our natural resources. And I want to leave something to my kids. I want to leave something. I want Brookhaven to be something that's known for my great grandkids. I want to have been the person to get on my knees and do the nitty gritty work and sacrifice so that my family one day can keep providing clean, healthy food to the world.
I feel like when the weeds get really bad is usually my breaking point. Because this space could largely just become yard again. And I think it's so important to us to like keep the quality of the soil going and like keep things growing in it. And that often gives us a lot more work than we're ready for. But so far it seems worthwhile.
I think we want to quit a bunch of times. It's just like it doesn't make sense, and I don't think we really want to.
Yeah,
it's just
in the moment.
In the moment, yeah, a bunch of times. Like today when I was mowing, it's like, I don't want to do this week. And then the mower stopped working, so it was perfect. But all of that stuff is like pretty short-lived, you know?
I think when the tasks feel like a lot more than you expect in a moment is usually when we feel like quitting, and then you work through it and you realize that it's worth it to just keep plugging away.
Yeah, I think too, like when it's like super intimidating to like pour so much work into something that you like honestly like don't know much about, and you like don't know if it's gonna pan out, and it feels like it could potentially be in vain, and you're like, it's super easy to just like talk yourself like out of wanting to do it because it might not even be worth it. You know, this stuff might all just get eaten by bugs. But you just got to keep going. I feel like once you start, you kind of have to keep farming. Because otherwise, I mean, why did you eat? Like all of that work is just gone. And then that pushes us a bunch of times. And it sucks. But you're like, if you don't want to get out there, that's like the biggest thing that will get you to get out there. All the work that you had done just like weeks before. Yeah. Yeah, and I think just getting better generally, learning more. I think not beating ourselves up when things go poorly. Just like little everyday stuff that's kind of long-term important. I'd like to find more consistency with everything, more efficiency. I'd like to, just all that stuff.
I mean, I think I just, I love feeling connected to the land. I love feeling connected to the seasons. I love being like fully aware and present for the passage of time, I think, in a way that you really notice when you're moving at the speed of farming, you know? So you notice the day-to-day changes, you know? You notice the day the spring peepers finally start making noise and when certain birds return. And so I just like that deep connection to the land.
Yeah, it's very like tangible work too, so it's very satisfying when it's just you get a job done and it's very visually clear that you've done it, and then you also get the reinforcement of growing food, and it just like morally feels good and people are excited about it, and people really, such an essential thing that it just feels really nice to get to enjoy it yourself, but also to get the feedback of people loving it so much and appreciating how you grow it and all that. So it's very fun.